I think that culturally responsive pedagogy is really just about being in touch with your students, where they're at, what their home lives are like, what their backgrounds are like.
Creating this comfortable environment where they feel like it is okay to be themselves, and that starts with the teacher also being themselves.
Providing students with an environment that they feel completely comfortable in, no matter what background that they come from.
Consciously making the decision to get to know your students a little bit better, understanding that sometimes it takes a little bit more compassion, to do basic things.
In a way, it allows them to connect their learning with what they already know, and it just becomes a really effective tool for making learning personal.
The VolsTeach for Appalachia project is a NSF grant that's in its 4th year. We are focusing on recruiting community college students to become math and science teachers here in East Tennessee, especially in Appalachia. Since this is our 4th year, we've had multiple cohorts, and we've been able to ask them focus group questions about how to improve the program, not only in VolsTeach for Appalachia, but also here at UT for VolsTeach.
I think there has been improvement in the VFA program. We recently just had a speaker talk to us. She was a former teacher. She just talked to us about how she incorporated culturally responsive teaching into her classroom.
I think every VolsTeach class I've ever been in has done a really adequate job of bringing in the ideas of equity and diversity, and whether it's through example of the instructor or whether it's the projects we work on, that we are always keeping that in mind, being mindful of, being inclusive of everyone.
One thing I would appreciate to talk about would be disabilities. We don't talk about them enough, and we talk about them with the students more often, and I would like to talk about them with the teachers having disabilities, because that's something that most people don't think about. People think the teachers just go in and do their own thing, but sometimes we also have our own things that we are dealing with.
So there's a question in education whether equity should be about having high expectations or the same expectations for your students.
To me, it is having high expectations for your students, because that means that you believe that they can reach that standard, that they have that potential to get there.
You want to push your students. You want them to all go past where they can go, but even higher than that. You want them to do as well as they can possibly do.
As the teacher, if you see that a student can't meet those expectations, you can adjust from there. But I think starting with high expectations really motivates students at all levels to try extremely hard.
As we move forward in the VolsTeach for Appalachia project in year 5, we really want to focus on practical ways of incorporating culturally responsive education into our lesson plans, what classroom teachers are capable of doing, and how we can actually extend that to make sure that we are really addressing the issues of equity, diversity, and culturally responsive education.